Hey guys, welcome to Yard Talk. This week's gonna look a little different. Maddie and I are in different provinces right now, so we're doing this over Zoom. So I'm Bryn. Hi guys.
Maddie. Lots of changes happening right now, and with that, we want to kind of talk about mental health and change and how that can really affect your life and leading into addiction and those surrounding topics.
Yeah. Um, just a quick overview. Pretty big changes in both of our lives. Maddie did move to a different province, and I am kind of going through some like transitional things in my life right now. Both very sudden changes, and we're both going through very different things, but we're kind of just like combating them together. We're really supporting each other and like navigating coping mechanisms for our mental health, and then also applying that to this podcast. So, with all these changes, um, thinking of ideas for this podcast was really beneficial towards both of our mental healths, kind of just keeping us focused on something. One of the biggest things about your mental health is finding something that you're passionate about and following through things. And it's been a huge challenge for me.
You've only been pushing off this podcast for a couple days now, but it's
a
okay.
couple days now. We were supposed to record this episode like 3 or 4 days ago, and I'm
like
just
a week ago.
like a week ago.
Yeah.
Whatever. Here we are. Yeah. Mental health, procrastination feeds into mental health, and I'm the best at it. So here we are.
Mental health affects so many different aspects of life. And with change happening, it can really take a toll. I made the worst decision of my life, but it's okay. Here I am. I started a new job and a weekend, and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna go back to where I was before.
Yeah.
Get me out of
Sometimes
here.
you have to go through things to learn, got to experience.
I thought it'd be
Yeah.
a good change, but here I am,
Yeah.
just teaching all my friends, and I fucking hate where I am. So
Yeah.
it's fine.
Well, you know
From
what?
here, I literally just triggers everywhere. I'm like crying. I'm like,
Yeah.
Bryn.
Mental health help.
Literally.
So we're both in mental health crisis right now. So that's why we're gonna do an episode on mental health.
Yeah.
Okay, quick little like overview. So your mental health includes your emotional, psychological, your emotional and psychological social well-being. It affects how we think, feel, and act. It also helps determine how we handle stress, relate to others, and make healthy choices. Mental health is important at every stage of life, from childhood and adolescence through adulthood. Do you want to kind of touch on some of that?
I would say that for me right now, when I'm trying to help others, I feel like I'm not engaged. I
Yeah.
don't know if it's like, well, obviously my mental health right now isn't good. So to be able to help somebody else, I'm like completely like cut off, or I completely cut off myself and all I want to do is help them. So I'm not putting
Mm-hmm.
myself first. And that's the biggest thing is like always make sure you're putting yourself first with whatever that looks like. If it's like 20 minutes a day where you're like, okay, go have a bath or go shower or get ready for the day. Like that's the one thing that I've always been consistent with is like getting up in the morning and getting ready so that I'm not laying around or I feel like crap or whatever. So that's the one
Mm-hmm.
thing that I make sure that I do in a day for my own mental health is to be able to get up and get ready so then I don't feel like crap.
Yep.
No matter what during the day, like yeah, I'm still may feel a little crappy, but like
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm ready. So
Mm-hmm.
it makes me feel a little bit better with myself.
Yeah, for sure. So how do you, something I'm struggling with right now, but I find that you are really good at prioritizing routine.
No.
How do you, I mean, maybe you don't think that for yourself, but from an outside perspective,
Yeah.
you are quite routined. How do you think that plays into your mental health?
I think if I don't have structure, I am a loose cannon. I
Same.
really am. Like if I could do like 9 a.m. I'm doing this, 10 a.m. I'm doing this. But like right now with school, I'm like, these times are here, I work here and I do this here. It's like just structure. I need structure. That's who I am, and that's how I'm able to like function. I like a
Yes.
plan. I'm coming back down Lower Mainland next week, and I'm like, you don't have a vehicle. How am I getting to where I need to go? I'm like, I don't want to take the bus. I'm literally searching today. I'm like, what time does the bus leave? How am I getting from the airport to here to get the bus to there? And I'm like, you know,
Never ridden a
hold
city
on.
bus before, but we're gonna learn today.
If I end up in Vancouver, you're don't ask me
Part
why.
part
I'll
of
pour
part of
in.
the journey. Part of the journey.
Yeah. And by
Yeah.
myself, I'll be calling you. I'll be like, how am I gonna get there?
Help.
Please.
Maddie might have a mental breakdown next weekend, but that's okay. We're gonna be here to support her.
Structure.
Yeah. I don't know. I was either literally talking about it earlier today. Like routine is something that I've always struggled with. And right now I'm in a very transitional phase of my life. A new chapter has recently started in my life. And I'm somebody who doesn't follow through with things, which really, really, really affects my mental health. So my goal for myself right now is to pick something and follow through with it, but also within that routines. I am somebody who has been medicated for things like depression, anxiety, PTSD, postpartum depression, and ADHD on and off for the past 10 years of my life. More actually, I was diagnosed with depression and a clinical depression, an acute anxiety disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, and ADHD when I was 14 years old. And I've been medicated on and off ever since. And the past 6 months now of my life, I have not been medicated. It has been really, really bad for my mental health. But I just recently started taking my medication again. So part of my routine that I am working on for myself is taking my medication every day. I really, really, really struggle with one, even just remembering to take them. Two, trying like embedding it in my brain, like so it just is second nature. Like routine. You wake up, you go to the bathroom, you take your meds. Like, so that is what I'm focusing on right now. I am on my way to success. I've taken my meds 6 days in a row. Now tomorrow will be 1 week and we're gonna have a mini congratulations about that.
I think it takes 90 days to set a routine, if I remember correctly. I don't know for sure. I'm just
I
like
think
thinking. So
20, I'm pretty sure it's 21 days to create a habit.
yes.
21 days to create a habit. And honestly, most medications too are about 21 days, so 3 weeks to take, I'm not going to say full effect, but to completely start working.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I was talking to someone the other day about like getting into that routine and like getting someone out of addiction, and they said, well, here's the thing, set them to do 90 NA meetings in 90 days. That will change their life. And
yeah,
I
I
was
bet.
like, oh, could you imagine? Like that is a lot to ask out of somebody who's
But if you break it down,
coming out of addiction.
yeah, I feel like, so like that's a big goal.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, okay, so something about goals is sometimes you have to break them down.
Yeah.
So take out 90 is a big number.
Mm-hmm.
1 is a small number.
Yeah.
If you go to 1 meeting once a day,
Yeah.
that's not
that
hard.
sounds a lot better.
Sounds a lot better, right? So
Yeah.
I've had to do that for my mental health over the years. I have to break things down,
Mm-hmm.
just think of them a little bit differently and kind of like rewire your brain a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is like being able to rewire it. I used to be a wreck.
I mean,
I would sleep until like 1 in the afternoon. I'd get up, put my hair up, go to work. I didn't have any structure. I'd come home, I'd lay around.
yep.
I don't know what happened, but I just flip of a switch and I was a whole different person.
I know, right? Yeah.
But it's a lot to do with your mental health, and I think that's when I started working on myself. I started journaling, I did all that. I started, like, trying to heal my trauma, my triggers, and I think that's where, like, it was like day and night. It just, like, switched in my brain,
Mhm.
and it was just,
Yeah.
like, a whole different world, and I think, like, moving away from my hometown helped a lot too, to be able to help
Yep.
my mental health.
Yep.
And like we've talked about, like Alberta and Saskatchewan, it's flat, it's depressing, it's boring, it's brown.
Mhm.
You
It's
got the
very
mountains,
ugly. Sorry,
BC,
not
like
sorry.
mountains green, like summer
Yeah.
all year round,
Water.
basically,
Yeah.
like water, you can do literally everything, and it's just
Mhm.
like so good for your mental health. And nobody
Yes.
gets that. They're like, oh, BC is so expensive. Yeah, but yeah,
Yeah. There's so many other things that, yeah, play a part in it. Like BC is home for me. I spent the last 15 years in Southern Alberta. But BC is home, and like it's crazy what scenery does for my mental health. Like
yeah.
it's insane.
Well, I didn't like I realized it, but I didn't realize it until I came back here in like instant depressed mode. I'm like sleeping now I'm sleeping till 1 in the afternoon and I'm like,
Yeah.
no,
No.
let's switch this around. I'm gonna move back.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. So topic that like we're gonna dive into a little bit. Something that I struggled with a little bit back in the day was with my mental health. I started to cope with substance. I never got to the point where I was in full blown addiction. I don't know if I'm going to call myself lucky, but I was able to kind of have a realization, I guess, and turn it around. But I did dive into your party drugs, you know, cocaine, MDMA, things like that. Um, and they're, I mean, they're gateways to harder substances, and they take the pain away. You feel so blissful and so nice, and you just all of your problems that you're thinking and that you're dwelling on, they're gone.
gone.
They're
Yeah,
gone.
yeah.
So where's the balance? How do you how do you deal with the pain in your brain and not resort to things like substances?
And I think that kind of goes back to where like I said, like it was like day and night for me. Like working on yourself is a huge priority.
Mhm.
You can't love somebody else before you love yourself. So
Oh.
bringing it back to, I have all this pain. Well, let's deal with that pain. Let's put it on
Mhm.
paper. Let's write it out. Let's go through all these coping mechanisms. What does that look like for you? Do you want to go to a counselor? Do you want to write it out? Do you want to talk about it? Like, do you
Mhm.
have a good support system? Like, what does that look like for each individual? That's so different. And it's
Yeah.
hard to find that balance of what's going to work for you. Like, for me, it was a lot of holistic approaches. I did Reiki, I did body talk, I did like all those approaches. I went to mediums, and I think that's what really helped me. And I did a lot of journaling, shadow work. Um, but it looks so different to everybody, and to find that, to be able to heal those pains, to be able to move forward is really hard. And then once you fall into deeper addiction, it's like, how do you turn back and
Mhm.
then deal with your mental health while you're in recovery? So
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing is
Mhm.
like you fall so deep, and then it's like, how do I pull myself back out?
Yeah. And I feel like all of those things that you just mentioned, like digging into things, coping mechanisms, like all that stuff, you already have so much pain that's in here or in your body or wherever you are that's affecting your mental health. And to bring all that out and talk about it and deal with it is painful itself. And
Mhm.
people are scared of that. And it's like, so what do we do for people that are scared to break through? There's got to be new coping mechanisms and new approaches and stuff. Like I'm still trying to figure out what works for me. I've figured out some stuff, don't get me wrong, but there's a reason that I haven't dealt with certain things. And there's a reason that a lot of people aren't dealing with certain things because of how painful it is to deal with it.
I think that it's the fear behind it too of, like, maybe talking to somebody. It's money too. Like, for me,
Oh,
you can go to a counselor and some of it could be paid for, but you have only so
yeah.
many benefits if you have benefits.
Yep.
Another thing is like my holistic approaches, they weren't paid for. I paid $120 a session. Like, and that sometimes I'd be going a couple times a month and I'm like, hey, like breaking my bank here. Like,
Yeah.
and people don't have that type of money to
No, there's a
invest
ton
in
of people
themselves.
that don't have the means or the accessibility to proper mental health care. Like honestly, I can speak for myself. Like I don't like currently right now I don't have health benefits. So I don't have access to things like coverage for prescriptions or an allotment for counseling or massage or whatever.
And
I don't
those are
have any of
all
that right now.
so
So if I want to dive into my fucking mental health shit, I gotta pay money to do it, like a lot of it, and money that I don't have.
yeah.
Like, how is anybody supposed to take care of their fucking brain when one, you don't have the resources, or two, you don't have the money?
Yeah. And I think that's kind of what made me want to like do my Reiki course was like to be able to help the people who like I don't ever, well, rarely. I don't post my Reiki stuff. I'll willingly do it for people if they ask me to. The
Yeah.
majority of the time I just do it for free. Like I've I've helped so many people and like I mean, yeah, one session isn't going to do much, but it just like it's a reassurance within that and then it's a reassurance for myself that I can do it to myself and like get
Mhm.
some clarity within myself, but I think it's the biggest thing is the reassurance to someone else to know that they're okay the way they're feeling and the emotions that they're feeling and where it's coming from because a lot of people don't recognize like the stemming point of the issue because
Mhm.
it's just like this pain, but where's that pain coming from? Is it coming from like, I don't know, this fight you had with your mom 10 years ago? I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
is it stemming from and why do you have the traumas or triggers to hold like why do you have this heavy weight on your shoulders? Why are your shoulders so tight?
Mhm.
Because you're holding burdens.
Mhm.
Why does your throat hurt? Because you're not speaking or feeling seen or heard.
Mhm.
Like, and that's the biggest thing is like when you reassure someone, like you need to use your voice,
Yeah.
they're like, "Oh fuck, I really haven't been," or like nobody
Yeah.
does see me or nobody does hear me. It's like finding that reassurance to rebalance like your future self.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. Um, I think if you talk, if we're gonna go back to like the substance use and mental health combination, um, people look at it as a form of like self-medication.
Mhm.
They can't afford, prescription drugs or whatever. Well, street drugs, I mean, some are expensive, but some are pretty cheap.
Or they pay for themselves.
Yeah. There's other ways of paying for street drugs.
You can just sell them
Yeah, 100%.
and sell them, and then they'll just pay for themselves, and you can just do your own supply.
Yeah.
That's what people turn to. It's like, why would I pay for that in at the pharmacy when I can literally just go get it, sell some of it, and use some of it?
Yeah.
Just as easy. I'd rather not pay 200 and some dollars to get this prescription when I don't have coverage.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I'll give an example just from my own experience. I take 3 medications for myself. I'm on an antidepressant, I'm on a mood stabilizer, and I'm on ADHD medication. All 3 of those medications are $250 without coverage. I can get some great shit on the street that would probably take all my fucking pain away for a hell of a lot less than that.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. So yeah, it's it's a broken system because there's so many things that are not accessible to, let's just say, like, I mean, there's different classes of people, obviously, but like the working class, even, and the lower class, like there's not enough for them at all. Like there's 50% of individuals with mental disorders are affected by substance use.
Yeah.
If not more. Like when I read that stat, I was like 50%.
Yeah.
Half? There's more for sure. Has to be. Like,
yeah. The what does it say? The substance use triggers changes in the brain structure and functions that create a person to be more prone to a developmental disorder. Or sorry, to develop a mental disorder.
yeah.
Because like 50% of, like you said, individuals with severe mental disorders are affected by substance abuse. 37% of alcohol abusers and 53% of drug abusers also have at least one serious mental illness.
Yeah.
Of all the people diagnosed with mental illnesses, 29% abuse alcohol or drugs.
And like, I mean, there's all sorts of different type of mental health illnesses out there, mental health, mental disorders, whatever. 29% is really not a big number.
No. But like, are these statistics accurate?
Right.
Who's taking these surveys?
Yeah, like I'm sure that there's a lot of people that they're forgetting about.
I'm not gonna lie to you. If someone asks me to do a survey, I don't read the questions. I just go like this and just I'm not gonna lie to you. I
You're
don't.
providing false hope for us.
Yeah, well, and that's just it. Like, how many people do that? Like, I don't know. I don't have time. Like, look at that one day. Like, someone did a survey for like hour and a half about what, Bryn? You were there. What was it on?
The effects of shoot, what was it? The effects of narcotics. Oh, so people that have been prescribed narcotics
Right.
and then taken off them.
Yeah.
And how that affected their substance use today. Because if it was basically a survey on if you have been affected by narcotics leading to your substance use.
An hour
I
and
think,
to do the survey.
yeah, and I think there was like, oh, I can't remember how many clients interviewed that day, but there was quite a few of ours that like, and I just kind of like I subconsciously knew because it's something that's talked about so much, but I didn't know like the personal story.
Yeah.
Of that person, their personal story of like them going to the doctor because of an injury, a simple injury like a broken foot, broken collarbone, whatever, and they're prescribed T3s, morphine, Oxycontin, Percocet, any narcotic, and they're addicted. And they end up getting so much of it, and then it just drops off. And then what are they supposed to do?
Yeah, which is
like withdrawal symptoms are
they're so
awful.
bad. They are so bad. Like
Awful.
Oh, I could not imagine. Like
Well,
the
they're
sweating, the dripping
deathly.
nose,
Yeah.
like they're on their deathbed is probably what it feels like.
Well, and there's some people that do lose their lives because of withdrawal. Like
fentanyl isn't a drug to mess around with. Like it's actually insane how dope sick people get when they haven't used. Like
when they're in withdrawal. Yeah.
crying, it gets bad. And
Yeah.
try and go for a week, like that's the hell point. After a week, it might get a little bit better, but probably about after a month, I'd say, until you start kind of feeling like yourself again. And I don't know for sure, but I would say probably 2 weeks to a month. Like detox is typically only 7 days. I don't think 7 days is enough.
No, it's not. It's not at all.
No,
Um,
especially with like that type of drug and how potent it is.
Yeah. Well, and then let's circle back again, back to mental health. Your your body is feeling so shitty. How
Mhm.
is that affecting your brain? Probably like so depressing.
So
Like,
many things are going through your head at once.
yeah. So like the like a like that's what Maddie and I are like that's why our two topics that we're focusing on are addiction and mental health, because they play off of each other so much. And we'll get into like smaller topics eventually and just like really like specifically focus on certain things. Right now we're just kind of like getting those like general ideas out, but they constantly play off of each other.
To be able to
Constantly.
tell someone like, okay, go to treatment, and or here, I'll let you detox in my house or something, whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay,
Yeah.
here you go, sit in this bed for 7 days and tell me how you're feeling. Like throughout that, it's like so many emotions, past traumas, triggers, everything is coming up at once. And with
Yeah.
someone who doesn't have the stability to be able to even maintain their own self, how are they supposed to maintain that while trying to cope with not trying to use with their coping mechanism that they've been used to? And
Hmm.
like where do you even start? You need supports, major supports.
Hmm.
What does that look like for you? Do you have family? Some don't. Do you have friends? Well, it's probably like the life from the lifestyle they lived. Like, do you have the sober friends? Do you have friends from NA or AA? Like, not a lot of people have that structure coming into sobriety. Like, it's tough,
Yeah.
really.
Well, and I was talking to somebody the other day from a men's recovery program, and he was saying that you got to find those people that you really click with.
Yeah.
And it's hard to do because you're in such an emotional state. You've just come down off of something that you've been addicted to, and you now have to completely relearn and rewire your brain, and at the same time find people to help you do that. Like it's a lot for your brain to process and do, but what it's once you do find those people and the support,
Yeah.
it's very beneficial.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, people say, like, go to NA, go to AA. Like, that's where you find the people in sobriety to be able to help you along your journey of your mental health. Like, going back to one of our other coworkers, like, he's faithful with it and he calls his supports every day to check in on
Mhm.
their mental health. He's like,
Every single day.
it's a check-in. How are you
Yeah.
doing? Okay, how are you doing? What can I what can I do to support you? Like, that's what people need for their mental health to be able to live day to day. Like, some people can't even get through a day, and it's like, I can't stress enough good supports. Don't get rid of your good supports.
No.
Like,
And if you don't
don't.
have
What are
any,
you doing?
try and find some. Like,
Yeah, like, it's tough.
yeah.
I would love to be that support for everybody, but not everyone accepts the support because they have a hard time accepting it as well,
Hmm. Yeah.
because so many people have left them,
Hmm.
or they just are so down and depressed and in their own head of accepting people into their lives. And the biggest thing about life is accepting.
Hmm. Well, another thing I think of too is like even when you and I were working together, um, different people's energies click, like are able to like get through to other people. Like there were people that you were able to get through to and be their support, but my energy and my vibe didn't really click. It was I clicked with somebody else.
Are you talking
Or
about the last interaction we had? And I was like, "Brittany, why did you do that?" And you're like, "I'm so sorry."
Maddie was having a wonderful conversation with somebody, and I just had to interject to like try and be a part of the conversation, and that person completely shut down. And I was like, I should have just kept my mouth shut. But learn, you live and you learn, I suppose.
very shy person, but
very fast. But anyways,
that's what I mean. Like you said, like some people have those people, and like some people don't. Like people clash and people don't.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough, tough field
Yeah.
of finding what's for you and what's not for you.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing that people need to play around with is like finding that. What does that
Hmm.
look like?
Hmm.
Pick up a pen and paper, write down your goals, even starting with that. What are your goals? What are your motivations? What strives you to
Hmm.
do what you want to do? What does 5 years from now look like? What does 10 years from now look like? That's a starting point. Working there, making these
Yeah.
small goals. What do I want to accomplish this week? And
Yeah.
that's what
And
you
fuck
do.
little wins.
Yeah.
Focus on little wins.
Taking your
Even
pill
go,
every morning.
yeah, little win. It's something that I have to do, but like you make a little goal for yourself. What is something you need to accomplish today?
Yeah.
Write it down. Like, and you know what? Put your fucking phone down. Turn the fucking music off. Sit down, get out a piece of fucking paper and put the pen down. And
We'll
just
share a podcast on our little thing on our Instagram, on our Mash or whatever the heck you call it, the website.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's about how social media affects you on a day-to-day basis and how toxic it is for your mental health.
Yes.
It is so toxic. Put your phone down. Freaking put like the thing so you can't go on your phone as much. Like
Yeah.
shut off your notifications on Facebook. That's what I did a long time ago.
Yep. Sleep mode.
Yeah, that's what you do.
Yeah.
Like trying to text you and it's like, I'll notify you.
Yeah. Do not disturb. That's
Well,
something I do for myself every night is I put my phone, I have a like a I don't know if it's a timer or whatever it is, but every night at 10 p.m. my phone goes on to silent on like do not disturb or sleep mode or whatever, and then it doesn't come off until 6 a.m. So I don't get notifications unless I actually open my phone and look at them for 8 hours.
yeah. And I
I
think
don't always follow through with it. I sometimes take it off if I'm doing something, but I am trying really hard to follow through with it, put it down, and just do a little bit of self-reflection.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So with that, it's a big topic. We're
It
on
is a big topic. There's so much more to talk about. And like I could talk forever about my mental health and everything that I'm been through, everything that I'm going through, but we will niche off a little bit as we keep going and yeah.
next week. We are going to have a guest speaker. We are
Mhm.
unsure of who yet, but we will share the details when it comes in.
We've got a
A
few
little
lined up.
unprepared.
Don't you worry. We've got some people. We just haven't just chosen the right one yet.
We don't know what topic we want to dive into.
I know. We need some suggestions. If somebody, if you guys have something specific you want to talk about, something you want to talk about, and you want to come and talk about it, comment, DM us, whatever. We're open to exploring any topic. We'll do a little bit of research together prior to podcast episode, and yeah,
We are only posting on YouTube right now until we figure out the whole Apple podcast thing. So bear
yeah,
with us. We have
yeah,
TikTok. I've been kind of posting slowly.
yeah.
Instagram, and then that's it.
Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Yeah.
Then you can look through our links in the bio for more like statistics, and I just share like
Yeah.
random things in there as
Random facts and stuff like that. We will any of the statistics that we always share on the podcast, we will always link just so somebody can reference it. We're not just pulling numbers out of our ass. We do look things up. Um, just so you're
not what
aware.
geniuses, but
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
All right.
We'll see you guys next week.